So obviously following Brighton Wolves, we have Spurs United, but maybe we should touch on Wolves United first, with the fact we didn't manage to cover that last week because it was the Monday night game.
Do we have to?
So, I mean, we could talk about it all day. But maybe let's go. So United Wolves, Monday night football from the previous week. At Old Trafford, 1-0 narrow win for United. The talking point mainly being the Superman punch from Onana at the end.
Yeah, so we went to the game, didn't we? And after the game, we had about 10 messages, just like
everyone kicking off.
Yeah, didn't know
like it's us that did it.
Yeah, didn't know you can Superman punch now. I was like, oh, well, obviously because it happened at the other end, so we was at the other side, weren't
we? It was difficult to see
for us to see. Yeah,
I could see it coming together, but couldn't see how bad it was, sort of thing.
We had I don't know how you feel about it now, but at the time we had different views, didn't we? That I was saying it was a pen. I admit it was a pen, and you were saying you can see why it wasn't.
Yeah, I'm still down the middle with it a little bit, but my comment on it was more, I don't think you see them given in the essence of the way that it all came about. I think it probably should be a penalty, but he's late, it's a 50-50, he's coming for the ball, and he's not affected the play by the contact on the player. The player still won the header, or whether it was him or the other player that won the header, but one of the two that he came into still got the head on the ball's gone up in the air, he's then retracted to his goal line. It still had the chance to play out before the referee pulled it to a stop.
Yeah, so one of the games today, Everton versus Villa, we saw a similar thing where a collision with the goalie and the striker.
Yeah, Pickford and Watkins, wasn't it?
Pickford and Watkins, yeah. The difference is with that one, you could tell Watkins was going to score.
Yeah, the ball's on the goal line, he's going to stick it in the back of the net.
Yeah, so the difference is, obviously your Wolves one, you said before, he headed it straight up. It's not even going anywhere. Then Onana comes and hits him.
I can understand from the flip of that, people are going, he's come in, the ball's nowhere, and he's just taking him out.
Yeah.
But I think you have to look at that and be like, yeah, he's late, yeah, he's clattered him and not won the ball, but
it's not like a goal scoring.
No, you wouldn't say so. Or even if he was the only man, if it's the keeper and him and he's going for a header and he's clattered him, that's probably a penalty. But I think because everyone's in the box, the ball's gone away already, I can see why it wasn't given, and I don't think you'll see them given. But ultimately, everyone's saying that it's a clanger of a decision, and people probably won't agree with my point of view.
I think they went a bit extreme getting rid of the VAR officials for the next week.
It's shocking, and we'll touch on that again when it comes to some of the other decisions we've seen this weekend, but it's well over the top, and they've almost sort of caved there to the social media reaction of all the other rival fans, and obviously their managers kicking up a stinker. Gary O'Neill's not happy about it.
Yeah, to be fair, you wouldn't be though, because Wolves are going to be fighting for their lives this season. That it matters.
Well, I think it changes the narrative as well. They lost narrowly in a 1-0 game.
They were much better than us.
They had the better chances. They had lots of attempts, albeit some of them were very poor and they probably should have been more clinical themselves. But ultimately, they're looking at it there where they had a last chance to saloon for a penalty with pretty much no time to go after that to take something away from Old Trafford.
Yeah.
So I can understand the narrative being so strong, but to me, the narrative is strong because it's United and people are spitting the dummies out and we're still riling everyone up and they're crying about it, regardless of the fact, people don't rumour us to be a threat to anyone this season. Everyone's spitting the dummy out anyway.
We don't look at them in it anyway.
Well, no. And we can, I don't want to talk more on the Wolves game because it was horrible. Kind of want to put that behind me and forget about it.
I will, yeah, because didn't they record the most amount of shots ever against us since 2005?
Since 2005, I think it was the Mourinho's Chelsea were the last team to have such a good game, if you like, at Old Trafford. But you say good game, the Wolves played, to me, they showed, despite showing some fight, showed why they're going to be in and around relegation this year.
Yeah.
Because they have not got goals in that team. They're wasteful. And I think they looked a damn sight better because of how poor we looked. I'll give them credit for the fact that they performed to a certain extent.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, obviously, Wolves got loads of credit. They looked great. But was that just because United was so bad?
It's one of those cases where both things can be true at once. And ultimately, then I think people were some people were saying then on Monday, we've had them down near relegation. They've just performed like that against United. Well, yeah, look at it. They've just gone and played at home against Brighton and been beat 4-1. They've had one of their players get sent off for a stupid second yellow card.
Yeah, I'm quite worried actually because if United go next week, say if we didn't have Nottingham Forest next week and we had Brighton, I think we're getting beat as well.
They need to turn a corner, don't they? I mean, so obviously we go on to this Spurs fixture. We watched it whilst having a few beers.
I think it made it worse because I think we thought we was a lot worse than what we were because we were pissed, I think.
I've become more accepting of the result
because of that first
time's
half.
Gone on.
Yeah.
But ultimately, like I said, it wasn't stuff like the chances. There was chances in the game and we should have been more clinical. I think the most disappointing part is the general performance, the sloppy ball play, giving it away.
It's like how you said about Brighton. And you said how fluent it is. Like,
yeah, see, they make it easy. They make it look easy to score.
Movement off the ball and everything. But as soon as like a United player gets a ball and we're going forward, there's no movement off it.
There's always someone slowing it down.
Yeah.
And other than that, you have a few counters. I think Rashford had an absolute sitter, the header. I think Bruno's was maybe worse.
I think Bruno's was worse, yeah. It was another jaw-dropping. We've had 2 jaw-dropping assists. It could have been an assist, sorry. So you had Martinelli last week, and you've got Bruno doing the Rabona cross.
He's done all the hard work. Rashford's found himself through and got... I think he might have been offside, to be fair. It was very close.
It was very close.
But he's got to hit... Did not even hit the target, none of those headers.
No. And Bruno's just went over the stadium.
Terrible, but I know maybe it could be a golfing class. You look at how good Haaland is, he's different class, but he scores both of them.
Oh yeah.
With
ease as well. It someone like so easy.
Olivier Giroud scores both of them.
Yeah.
I know that maybe Rashford and Bruno aren't the most prolific in the air, but
does Højlund score them?
I wouldn't even like to predict. I can't until we see him. It looks like we need him already.
Yeah.
Rashford through the middle just ain't it. He'll get you the odd goal here and there, but ultimately his performances are nowhere near the level you see from the left.
His headers have never been good.
No, I think some people have got it in the lock and some people don't, and I don't think it's really a strength that he has to his game.
I don't know what it is, but I really like headed goals, and you don't realise how
satisfying.
Bad. Yeah, and you don't realise how hard it can be to get them right.
I think just playing at a low level, like we do as all a kickabout, you realise how few goals people score like that. Like, people get the head on it for sure. Will he score them? Not really.
Yeah.
So, but these guys do it day in, day out. The chances were there. And then we've had Anthony hit the post, Casemiro and Varane both with headers. Some of them with good saves from the goalkeeper, so credit there. But ultimately...
You have that Penna shout as well.
Yeah, that is nailed for me. Absolutely nailed.
Your arms out here. If your arm's out there, how are you not getting the Penna shout?
We see them given every single week now. And then the fact VAR haven't overturned it, that to me is an obvious stinker. And we said it at the time, but I'll say it again now. That is making up for a wrong that they think they've made in the Wolves game.
They've definitely got the Wolves game in the back of their mind.
They've gone, you've had 3 points where you should have potentially had 1 for conceding a penalty maybe late on. So you're not having this penalty now. We're gonna make up for the wrong we did on Monday by not letting you have. Because I can't see a world where the referee has seen that and not give it. And then if he hasn't seen it, why VAR ain't gone in his ear and gone, that's a clanger. That is in the box. It is a handball. His arms are up out from his body.
Because they always said last season, if it's natural position, all this stuff. The amount of handballs that we've seen that was like...
Some of them are very harsh, and that one wouldn't have been harsh.
Wasn't it Diassi last week? In my eyes, his arm was here. And to be fair, I don't think you can get away from that. You've got it on your chest, really.
Yeah.
But Romero's, compared to Diassi's,
like this.
Romero's is there.
Yeah.
See, I think, they've got it shouldn't happen where we're saying we think last week's played a part in it.
I think it
But
has.
I actually think it does.
I think it definitely
Even
does.
though refs don't like to admit it, I think it does play a part.
I've seen Howard Webb or someone say once before, he said, you'll get some decisions through the season and sometimes you won't, and it'll level out through the course of the season. You're telling me that in their mind as they're going on.
If you're VAR, right, you're working with your colleagues last week in the Wolves game, you've noticed, they're not here this week. They've been let go for a bit. They're not allowed to be in this week's match week, are they? I think that's what's happened.
Something
anyway.
like that. That was the rumour.
So if you're sitting there, you're like, oh, I don't want that to happen to me. So I don't want to give this pen now. I don't want to overrule it.
But yeah, it's difficult. Yeah, you're making them question themselves.
Yeah.
I liked maybe the only thing I have liked from Bruno, aside from that Rabona cross, how he came out after the game and said, I want the officials to apologise to us like they apparently had to do to Wolves on the Monday.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and I think,
It's not. I will say it's not us making excuses, because I do feel like Spurs were running all over us in the second half.
We didn't seem to have enough to win, and I think that's where the narrative shift it will be. We said it before when we were discussing the Wolves decision. They were probably the better team, if not definitely the better team on the Monday night.
Spurs now or Wolves?
Wolves.
Yeah.
So for them to come away with nothing when they had the shout for a point. Disappointing. We're on about a penalty decision where we lost 2-0. But I think you have to understand the weight of that the penalty decision was
0-0, wasn't it? Yeah.
And I think a lot of people would concur, whether United or Spurs fan, that we probably had the better of the chances in the first half.
Oh yeah, we did.
And if we were clinical and buried them, that game goes completely different way, potentially. But you can't say that for sure.
No, because Spurs could have come out like last year. We was 2-0 up first half, and then Spurs came back 2-2, didn't they? So, yeah, you can't say that it would have changed it, but I mean, it would have had an effect.
Yes,
like
it
at least
stopped that from even being a possibility.
Yeah. But like I say, we're not making excuses up, because they've been very poor again for the first two games.
You could see that result coming. It wasn't a shock because of how poor the opening fixture was in terms of quality. Also seen in that game, I feel like I got to talk about it, the own goal from Lisandro Martinez, shocking. Yeah. I don't know what the lot of them are playing at. I've watched it back a number of times now. And
I still don't understand what he's doing.
I can't understand what he's trying to do with his movement.
Yeah.
I can only give him the benefit of the doubt that it looks like it nicks off someone else before it gets to him. And it's like the contact is unexpected, but he throws a leg goal bound. I just can't understand what he's attempting to do there.
They look very sloppy and lazy, and I don't know what it is, because obviously we didn't have a good pre-season, but it's just about getting your fitness ready, but they don't look fit.
No,
and when you're swinging a leg at something like that, that is the sign of fatigue. Like you're not lazy, but you mean you're a bit tired, and it's a sign of that. And I just don't understand why I was so tired. Yeah,
I think as well. I've commented on it a few times now. I thought it was present in the Wolves game, and I saw more of it again against Spurs. Is we are diving in to everything. Like I understand that we're trying to play this pressing football now.
Yeah.
But we're throwing slide tackles, we're diving into every single challenge, and the problem is they're missing half of them.
Yeah.
So we're throwing ourselves in the way, trying to block shots, and all we're doing is diving in and making it so easy for someone to run past us. I think that to me is clear instruction from the manager and the coaching staff, because I did not see evidence of that last year. And I can understand them trying to go for that approach, but it is really not paying off at the moment. They need to be a bit more diligent in when they dive in, if they dive in. We're giving away fouls left, right and centre. And
it seemed like every touch in that Wolves game, every touch was like a Lukaku touch.
Oh, people touching it miles out the feet, looking rusty. The passing's been poor for the most part. I know someone like Bruno, he'll pull a few worldies out, even if he's having a stinker. Because he's trying that many.
He'll have about 10 stinker passes and then one worldie, could literally win you the game. So that's why we kind of take it easy on Bruno a bit.
But I did also say that Wolves game was crying out for Fred, the only player we've managed to sell this season.
Yeah, I would have, honestly,
that was a Fred game.
To stick McTominay next to Casemiro or something like.
I do think in this Forest game they're going to have to change something.